The Golden State Warriors are on the verge of winning their 4th NBA championship in 5 seasons and being the first team to three-peat since the early 2000s Los Angeles Lakers. The past 5 NBA seasons, the Warriors have won 67, 73, 67, 58, and 57 games, good for a 322 and 88 record over the last 5 seasons. Far and away the best record of any NBA team in that span. The Warriors have become so good, though, that it is easy to forget how far this Warriors team has come in such a small amount of time. 7 years ago, the Golden State Warriors won 23 games, had missed the playoffs for 22 out of 23 years, and were led by an all-star whose name actually wasn't Stephen Curry. What's up, guys? It's the Doc, and I'm back with another documentary. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. You've seen the title of my video, so you already know this video is going to be about David Lee. A lot of you may know who he is, but I know a lot of people who didn't start caring about the Warriors until these last 5 years, and only know about Steph, Klay, KD, and Draymond. This decade, the Warriors have had 5 All-Stars, not including guys like DeMarcus and Iguodala, who were All-Stars on other teams before coming to the Bay. These 5 players, who you could probably guess, are Steph, Klay, KD, Draymond, and of course, David Lee. David Lee was never a superstar in the NBA, but he had a solid career, as he was a 2-time All-Star, All-NBA performer in 2013, and an NBA champion. He could drop a double-double on any given night, and was arguably one of the founding fathers of the Golden State Warriors as we know him today, even though he isn't always given credit for what he helped his team become. Let's shine some light on his career, and take a look at how good of a player David really was. David Lee was a 6'9" power forward who played his college basketball at the University of Florida under a coach that you may know, Billy Donovan. He played all 4 years in college, averaging 11.3 points and 7 rebounds for his career, while starting in 95 of the Gators' 96 games after his freshman season. Lee's numbers were good enough for him to earn all SEC honors in both his junior and senior seasons, and to top that all off, he helped the Gators to their first ever conference championship in 2005 with the help of some familiar faces, Al Horford, Corey Brewer, and Joakim Noah. As you can see by his numbers, David Lee didn't blow you away with his stats, but he was a solid starter at the collegiate level with amazing finishing ability, energy, and strength. He wasn't a superstar, but he was still one of college basketball's best players, which is why the New York Knicks selected him with the 30th pick in the first round of the 2005 NBA draft. While David Lee was good enough to be selected in the first round of the 2005 draft, there were many questions about his game coming into his first NBA season. Did he have good enough conditioning to play an 82-game season? Could he outmuscle the league's strongest forwards? Is his energy enough to earn him a long NBA career? Lee looked to silence the doubters in his rookie year with the Knicks, in which he averaged 5.1 points per game and 4.5 rebounds in just 17 minutes per game off the bench. These stats aren't eye-popping by any means, but despite these low scoring numbers, Lee did manage to shoot 60% from the field as a rookie, while also turning the ball over less than once per game. Despite his below-average numbers, it appeared that if given more minutes, Lee could really begin to blossom as an NBA player, and he did exactly that in his second season. In 30 minutes per game off the Knicks bench, David Lee averaged a double-double with 10.7 points and 10.4 rebounds on 60% shooting for the second consecutive season. Lee had some great moments in his sophomore season, including this amazing buzzer beater versus the Charlotte Bobcats with 0.1 seconds on the clock.
As they throw it at the basket.
Along with this unreal tip-in, David Lee also played in the Rookie Challenge, known today as the Rising Stars Challenge, and finished that game with 30 points and 11 rebounds, shooting 14 for 14 from the field and winning MVP for his team. In his third season, Lee averaged 10.8 points and 8.9 rebounds, still proving that he could be a major contributor off the bench in the NBA, but in his fourth season, Lee proved that he was capable of doing even more. The 2008-2009 season was David Lee's first as an NBA starter, and with this opportunity, he took off. He set a career high in points this season by scoring 37 points, ironically against the Golden State Warriors. The same year, Lee would become the first Knick since Patrick Ewing to finish a game with 30 points and 20 rebounds, so Lee was really starting to come into his own. He was a double-double machine, as he finished his fourth season averaging 16 points and 11.7 rebounds per night in 35 minutes per game as a starter. Lee would continue to improve his game, as in his fifth season, he made another big jump, as he averaged 20.2 points per game, 11.7 rebounds, and 3.6 assists, all career highs. And of course, these awesome stats earned David Lee a roster spot in the All-Star game, making him the first Knicks All-Star since Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell in 2001. Lee's All-Star season was full of incredible moments, like the first triple-double of his career, in which he finished with 37 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists versus, again, the Golden State Warriors. What was his problem with Golden State? It was like he couldn't stand them. But just as I say that he couldn't stand them, David Lee was signed and traded to the Golden State Warriors in the 2010 offseason. I'm a Knicks fan, and I know David Lee isn't an amazing player, but this is a prime example of the Knicks trading away a great player in their prime. Coming off an All-Star season, Lee was traded to the Warriors in return for Anthony Randolph, Ronny Turiaf, and Kelenna Azubuike. That's right. Who the heck is that? Nonetheless, David Lee shined with the Warriors right off the bat, as he averaged 16.5 points and 9.8 rebounds with the team in his first season, despite shooting a career-low 51% from the field. 2011 was a down year for David Lee, but he found his groove again in the 2012 season, as his points per game climbed back up to 20.1, his rebounds stayed about the same, despite the Golden State Warriors finishing with a 23-43 record in the NBA's lockout-shortened season. At this point of his career, David Lee was in his prime, but it was questionable how many years he had left in him, but more importantly, if he could ever be a part of a winning team, as 7 years into his NBA career, Lee hadn't played in a single playoff game, raising questions towards his future as a high-paid NBA player. However, Lee was able to quell these doubters in the 2013 NBA campaign, as he averaged his first double-double since 2010 with 18.5 points and 11.2 boards, along with 3.5 assists, and with the help of a man named Steph Curry, a sharpshooter named Klay, and one of my favorite six men ever, Jarrett Jack, Lee helped lead the Warriors to their second playoff berth in the last 24 years, finishing the regular season with a 47-35 record. This, of course, was David Lee's second time being selected to the All-Star team, and he deserved the honor without any doubt. He had some amazing moments, including a triple-double versus the Bobcats and a career-high 22 rebounds versus San Antonio. Despite the emergence of the Warriors' young stars, Lee was still the captain of this ship. The Warriors came into the playoffs as a 6th seed, but were able to knock off the 3rd-seeded Denver Nuggets and push the conference champion Spurs to a 6-game series. These young Warriors were on the rise, and while Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and guys like Draymond and Harrison Barnes were the future of the team, David Lee was still the leader. With the Warriors' success in 2013 came higher expectations, as the Warriors' predicted record in 2014 was 54-28, with some analysts predicting they would make it to the conference finals. Despite winning 51 regular season games, the Warriors found themselves placed in 6th in the West for the second straight year, despite adding veteran wing Andre Iguodala and rim protector Andrew Bogut. Steph Curry's points per game jumped up to 24, while David Lee's contributions remained constant at 18.2 points and 9.3 rebounds a game. The Warriors would lose in the first round of the playoffs to the LA Clippers, led by Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. They came so close as they forced a Game 7, but honestly they were expected to win the series. This led to the firing of head coach Mark Jackson and the hiring of Steve Kerr in the 2014 offseason. Even though David Lee had a great regular season, his success as an NBA player would turn around in what felt like an instant. David Lee was an important starter on a team that had just made the playoffs back-to-back seasons in the tough Western Conference. His talent was undeniable, but he didn't have a chance to show it in the 2015 season. He suffered a hamstring injury in the last game of the preseason, which kept him out for 24 of the team's first 25 games. Even after Lee recovered from his injury, he continued to come off the bench behind now starter Draymond Green. He had his moments in 2015, such as a 24-point performance versus the Bulls in January, and his first NBA championship in the same year, but Lee wasn't given any real opportunity to contribute to the Warriors' playoff run, despite being one of their top 3 players in recent years. With Draymond Green in the starting lineup, along with Andrew Bogut, there really wasn't a place for David Lee to contribute on this team. He was getting older and didn't have the same energy and athleticism that made him such a great bench player early in his career. Because of this, Lee was traded to the Boston Celtics in July of 2015, where he played in only 30 games before being waived and signed by the Dallas Mavericks. Before I go on about David Lee's stats and the rest of his career, I just want to make it clear that Lee was a definitive star before his injury in the 2015 preseason, but his playing time took a dip after losing his starting spot to Draymond Green. If David Lee had started this season, he probably would have put up good numbers, but I feel like Draymond's spacing and playmaking abilities are what helped make the 2015 Warriors so great, along with his amazing defense. David Lee became an afterthought for the Warriors, as he did little to contribute to their 2015 championship before the team went on to win the 2017 and 2018 championships without him. David Lee is largely forgotten in Warriors history, but that's not to say he didn't bring some great things to the table. After being signed by Dallas to finish the 2016 NBA season, Lee showed that he still had it as a player, dropping a 14-point, 14-rebound double-double in his second game versus the Nuggets. He averaged 8.5 points and 7 rebounds in limited minutes, which are really solid stats for a bench big man. He definitely could have averaged a double-double if he was given more time. In his final NBA season, or 2016-17, Lee signed on with the San Antonio Spurs, hoping to win one last NBA championship before retiring at the age of 34. Again, I feel like Lee still had great talent, as he dropped 10 points and 16 rebounds in January 2017 versus the Nuggets, and scored 18 points twice in a one-week span versus both the Nuggets and Kings. The 2017 Spurs would end up losing to Golden State in the Western Conference Finals, and after this, Lee would decline his player option with the Spurs and announce his retirement. David Lee is a forgotten star of the Golden State Warriors lore. He's one of 5 Warrior All-Stars this decade and put up great statistics for the majority of his career. After starting off as a hustle player off the bench, Lee became a double-double machine who could also pass the ball and defend opposing big men. What's crazy about Lee's career is that I feel like it could have ended better. David Lee showed great flashes throughout his final couple years of his career, despite being a bench player. If he had started for the Warriors in 2015, they might not have won the championship, but his numbers would have earned him more time as an impact player in the league. However, Draymond taking his spot is what helped the Warriors make it to 4 consecutive NBA Finals, maybe 5 this year. And David Lee was never a three-point shooter, so maybe his value in the NBA began to dip as the league changed. But no matter what, I hope I shined light onto the underrated career of David Lee, one of the Warrior greats who may never be mentioned, a 20-point and 10-rebound guy on any given night. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Show some love in the comments if you want more videos like it too. Peace.